Welcome to GrowMe. We are a collective of garden warriors joining forces to grow our own food and attain food security and sovereignty for ourselves, our families, our communities, and for the world. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited you're here. Subscribe to the channel if you resonate with our mission. And today we are talking about worm composting. Now, this is what I call a wormhole. So in my other life, when I'm not planting things and building things in this garden, I work as a guide to help people do what they came here on this planet to do. I do so through energy work and also through building fun, creative, spiritual businesses. One of the things that I say that I do, which I do, is help people find their wormholes. Do you know what a wormhole is? Ultimately, it's this like quantum physics, a jig thing, but here's how I understand it. Here's also our micro tip for today. Have you ever read the book A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle? Write me know in the comments below if you read it. Maybe you saw the movie, not as good as the book. If you love that book, and if you've read the whole series. There's 5 books in that series, and I recommend all of them. I love them so much. I have this beautiful series that my sister got me, and I'm gonna put a link in the description below. It's totally worth having in your library. Here's why this is a tip, is that woman was ahead of her time. She was writing about things on both a molecular level and also a quantum level that I feel like really right now are coming to the surface as common knowledge and not just fantasy. And one of the things she talks about in A Wrinkle in Time is a tesseract. In other words, a wormhole. So you may remember the drawing from the book, which is a piece of string. And on that string, there's an ant walking across it, right? And so the ant is walking from point A, which is right here, to point C, which is right here. And theoretically, the ant has to walk across the whole string in order to get where it wants to go. Unless there's a tesseract, aka a wormhole, in which point B is right here. And if you fold in point B, point A and C are right next to each other, and the ant just hops from one place to the next. That, my friends, is a tesseract. That is a wormhole, and they are possible in our daily lives. True story. They're totally possible, but it means thinking in ways we don't normally think, right? Because who could think that you could just bend time and space? Well, science thinks so. And I think so too. And I think on some level, you know that it is possible as well. So why am I here talking about growing food and starting gardens and metaphysics? Or not even metaphysics, it's quantum physics, man. Why am I talking about that? Because I found the craziest wormhole has to do with actual worms. We got worms. You know, as I've talked about before, I went from not growing anything ever into deciding that I was going to have my own food forest at warp speed in no time, right? So in order to do that, I needed to find a wormhole. And so it is. I found my wormhole. One of the big things I'm into is soil restoration because I believe in reciprocity. I believe that that's one of the great laws of nature, right? And that we have taken so much from this land and it's time really that we give back. So I am working where I'm at. And right now I'm at my parents' and I travel all around the world all the time. So part of this, you know, this ongoing series that I'm filming for you is me showing up to different people's places and helping them to become food sovereign as well as building my own eventually. Okay, into the box we made for you. Welcome home. But for right now, I'm at my parents, and I said, you know what? I need to grow some vegetables really fast. So how am I going to do that? So I started moving into a wormhole as I do, and I thought, you know, I know it takes this amount of time and this amount of time, but what if there was another way? And so that's what led me to discover worms. Vermicomposting, worm composting, because we needed a bunch of materials, basically organic materials, and we had failed at composting, my parents and I, for a long time. I bought them this tumbler composter, didn't work. Got to a point where there was like a mini war between my parents where my mother would yell at my father whenever he tried to compost anything because it wouldn't work. So me wanting to start a garden really fast from nothing, I needed to find a bunch of compost and organic materials, and I needed to do it on a budget. So that's when I discovered the worms. I do not know if I could be more excited right now. And my friend Josh at Red Oak Permaculture gave me a bunch of worms. What ended up happening actually is I was researching where to buy them from, and there are some great places you can buy them on the web, and I'll put that in the description below. But one of my garden warriors suggested that I try to find some locally. So I went on Craigslist. That's how I found Josh, and that's how I bought my first batch of worms. So basically, you know, you could buy fertilizer every year, right? You could buy stuff that's going to help your vegetables grow faster, or you could invest in worms and have the best, they call it black gold, is the fertilizer that comes from worms. You could have that for your life if you want to become a worm farmer. So become a worm farmer. I did. Okay, I'm opening the box. Maybe not. Okay, let's see here. Oh, they're all sleeping. There's one. So talk about a wormhole. Literally, it's a wormhole. It's a bunch of worms in a hole. And this wormhole has allowed me to grow my vegetables much more quickly. Tune into the interview with me and Marjolaine where we talk about my tomatoes and what happens with my tomatoes. My tomatoes grew like ridiculously fast. I sent her a message. I said, is it because of the worm compost or because I'm a master gardener, or both? LOL. It's definitely both. And so are you. So are you worm composting yet? Are you interested in it? Let me know if you are in the comments below, and if you want me to do some more videos on it, because at this point now I am a worm mama extraordinaire. Me and those babies. I'll tell you, my eco journey began really with animals. I have a great love for them all of my life, and I used to like play with all the animals and all the bugs in this very backyard. And so it feels like a full circle, a full wormhole, to be tending to these amazing creatures who do us such a great service in helping our gardens grow. So I've learned so much in such a short amount of time, and if you're interested in learning more, if you want to hear me share more about worm composting, then leave a comment below. Worms, 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 worms. And as always, subscribe if you want to stay connected, because my intention is to help you wormhole to get to your dream garden at warp speed. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.